I picked up my neighbor's groceries every week after her surgery. One day, I asked her to watch my dog for an hour. I came back to an empty crate and a note. He was barking too much. I let him go. I drove for hours, calling his name in the rain. When I found him days later, what I did next left our communities speechless. I don't do favors to get anything back. I've never been that kind of person. Claire, my neighbor, had knee surgery back in January. She lives 2 doors down alone, with no close family around. First week she came home from the hospital, I saw her struggling to get out of her car with a brace on. I offered to carry her groceries. She seemed surprised, almost embarrassed. "It's fine, I can do it," she said. I insisted. She relented. That was the start. Every Saturday after that, I picked up her list, eggs, yogurt, apples, stuff like that, from the local store and dropped it off on her porch. Sometimes I'd help unpack, if she let me. No big conversations, just a few polite thank yous and 1 or 2 stories about her dog that died years ago. She said she wasn't ready for another 6 weeks. Never asked for anything back. Never expected to. Until one Saturday, I had a last-minute thing come up. My usual dog sitter canceled. My dog, Poncho, 5-year-old rescue, part beagle, part mutt, can be a little anxious. But he's harmless. I didn't want to leave him alone. I knocked on Claire's door and asked if she could keep an eye on him for an hour. Just an hour. I'll bring over his crate and food and everything. You won't have to do anything. He just gets nervous if I'm gone too long.
She didn't hesitate. "Sure," she said.
Bring him in. I set up his crate in her living room. He barked once when I left, but that's normal. I kissed his head and told him I'd be right back. Exactly 57 minutes later, I came back.
Knocked.
No answer. Then I noticed the crate sitting empty on her porch. Poncho was gone, and taped to the crate was a torn piece of paper, scrawled in blue ink. He was barking too much. I let him go. That was it. I didn't scream. I didn't knock again. I got in my car and started driving. It had started to rain, just a light drizzle at first, but enough to blur the windshield. I drove up and down every block in the neighborhood, windows down, yelling his name. "Poncho. Buddy.
Come on, boy."
Nothing. By 10 p.m. I was soaked, hoarse, and completely panicked. I went to the animal shelter. Nothing. I filed a report. Nothing. I made flyers with his photo, posted online, drove to every gas station, alley, and park I could think of. The worst part was not knowing where she let him go. Did she just open the door and shoo him out? Did she drive him somewhere? Leave him at a shelter?
Dump him?
For 2 days, I didn't sleep. Barely ate. I just kept searching.
Calling. Posting.
Driving. And then, on the 3rd day, I got a call from a woman who lived on a small farm outside town. She said a scared dog had been hiding under her porch. He had no tag, but he was sweet and shy, and he looked exactly like the photo I posted. I drove straight there. It was him.
Poncho.
He was dirty, limping, and shaking, but he wagged his tail when he saw me. Not fast, not excited, just a slow, tired wag, like he wasn't sure it was real. I picked him up and held him so tight, I thought my chest might split open. I cried into his fur and whispered, "I'm so sorry." When I got back home, I didn't go straight to Claire's. I gave Poncho a bath, fed him chicken, watched him curl up in his bed like nothing had happened. But something had happened. The next morning, I knocked on Claire's door. She opened it like nothing was wrong. No guilt, no panic. Just a casual, "Oh, hey." I said, "He's home." She blinked. "Poncho." "Yeah," I said. "You remember him. The dog you let go." She looked down. He wouldn't stop barking. The noise was, "You could have called me.
Texted me.
You had my number. Instead, you let him go." She opened her mouth, then closed it again. I searched for 3 days. He could have died. He was alone in the rain. She whispered, "I didn't think it'd be that serious." I turned and walked away. Not because I forgave her, but because I didn't want to hear one more excuse. Then I did something I never thought I'd do. I told the story. I posted it online. The full truth. I included photos of Poncho when he was missing. The crate. The note. The moment I found him again. It went viral. People were furious. Not just for me, for every time they'd trusted someone and been let down. Every time they helped someone, and that person turned out to care less than they thought. People started leaving comments on our neighborhood Facebook page, asking who she was. Some defended her. Most didn't. She stopped leaving her house for a while. I didn't see her for weeks. But then something strange happened. One day, I saw her outside, struggling with her groceries. She didn't look over. Didn't ask for help. I didn't offer.
She's alone again now.
Her porch light's usually off. No one visits. And Poncho? He still barks sometimes. But I never tell him to stop. He earned the right to be heard. About a week later, a folded envelope showed up on my porch. No name.
No stamp.
Just tucked behind a flower pot. Inside was a letter. The handwriting was neat, careful. It was Claire's.
I'm sorry.
I know it's not enough. I made a terrible mistake. I panicked. He barked for 20 minutes, and I couldn't handle the noise. I didn't think. I drove him to a field near the old water plant and left him there. I don't know why I thought that was okay. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted to tell you the truth. The old water plant. That's over 10 miles away. She didn't just let him go. She drove him out to nowhere and abandoned him. In the rain. With coyotes in that area, no food, no shelter. I sat there with that letter in my hand for a long time. My hands were shaking. I could have gone to the police. I could have posted the letter online, let people tear her apart. But I didn't. Not yet. Instead, I started knocking on doors. Quietly. I went around the neighborhood and told the people who asked what happened, exactly what happened. Not a dramatized version. Just the facts. She drove my dog out of town and left him there. He nearly died. Most of them were horrified. A few tried to defend her. She's old. Maybe she didn't mean to, that kind of thing. But the mood started to change.
Slowly.
One man across the street, Paul, ex-military, kind of standoffish, asked me if I'd considered pressing charges. I hadn't. Not really. But the more I thought about it, the more it started to burn in my head. Not because I wanted revenge. Because I didn't want her to do it again. A few days later, I saw Claire in the backyard. She was sitting alone in a lawn chair, staring into space. She looked thinner. Her face pale, drawn. Part of me almost felt sorry for her. Almost. But then Poncho barked, just once, from inside the house. And she flinched. Like the sound scared her. That's when I knew. She never really liked him. Not even a little. She just pretended to be nice. And when things got inconvenient, she threw it away. Literally. I went down to the town animal control office and asked what the legal consequences were for abandoning a dog. Turns out it's a misdemeanor in our county.
Fines.
Possible probation. Maybe community service. I filed a report. They opened a case. When the officer asked if I had any proof, I handed him the letter. He read it slowly, looked up at me, and said, "This is enough to start something." Claire was contacted the next day. I didn't see her for a week. Then, something happened I didn't expect. Someone spray-painted the word monster on her garage door.
That wasn't me.
I wouldn't do that. But it told me people were listening. And someone else out there was just as angry as I was. Then I found out the homeowners association was getting involved. Apparently, multiple neighbors had filed complaints, not just about the dog, about her behavior, the noise, the way she talked to delivery people, her attitude. They were reviewing her status as a resident. I didn't ask for that either. But I didn't stop it. About 2 weeks later, I got a knock at my door. It was Claire. She looked terrible. Hollow eyes, shoulders hunched like they were holding up something heavy. She was holding a plastic bag with something inside. I didn't open the door, all the way. She spoke first. "I came to give this back," she said. I looked down. It was Poncho's old leash. The one I'd left at her place that day. "I don't want anything of his," I said flatly. She stood there in silence for a second, then held it out anyway. It's yours. I took it, mostly to end the moment. But as I went to close the door, she said something I wasn't ready for. I'm selling the house. I stopped. She stared down at her shoes. The HOA's breathing down my neck. Nobody talks to me anymore. People leave trash in my yard now. I can't stay here. I didn't say anything. Then she looked up and added, I didn't think it would get this far. I opened the door a little wider. Not much. Just enough to look her in the eye. You took a living thing. You left him in a field. You thought people wouldn't care? She didn't answer. She just nodded once and walked away. That night, I found the leash still hanging by my door. I couldn't bring myself to use it again. It felt tainted. I threw it in the trash. The next morning, I noticed someone had raked her front yard. Not her. Someone else. Cleaned up the spray paint, too. Turns out, a couple of the elderly neighbors, ones who don't go online much, felt sorry for her. Said the mob treatment was too much. That started something new. Arguments in the Facebook group. Some people saying she deserved it. Others saying the neighborhood was turning into a lynch mob. It got ugly. Then someone posted my full name and address with a comment. This is the guy who sicked the internet on a senior citizen. I deleted my account the next day. But it didn't end there. One afternoon, I came home and found my mailbox open. All the mail was gone. Another day, I found tire marks on my lawn. Not from me. Somebody was trying to send a message. Not Claire. I don't think she had it in her. But someone who thought they were defending her. The lines had shifted. This wasn't just about Poncho anymore. This was about sides. And now I was on the wrong one for a lot of people. A few days after the mailbox incident, I got a letter. No return address.
Typed.
No signature. You ruined her life over a dog. Hope you're proud of yourself. Maybe next time mind your own business. Some of us actually liked Claire. I read it twice. Then burned it in the sink. But I couldn't lie to myself anymore. This thing had gotten out of hand. Somehow a simple act of betrayal had turned into a neighborhood Cold War. Quiet threats, people picking sides, subtle tension, every time I went to the store or walked Poncho. I started noticing the difference. The woman at the post office stopped making small talk. The guy at the deli, who used to say, hi, just rang me up without a word. Even a few neighbors I'd known for years gave me the kind of look you give someone you're not sure you trust anymore. That hurt, because all I did was tell the truth. Then came the worst part. One night around 2 a.m., Poncho started barking like mad. Not his usual nervous bark. This was sharp, warning, something's wrong bark. I jumped up, ran to the window. There was someone in my yard, hood up, flashlight in hand, crouching near my fence. I banged on the window and shouted.
They ran. Fast.
I didn't get a good look. Called the cops. Filed a report. Nothing came of it. Just keep your lights on and maybe install a camera, they said.
So I did.
Got cameras installed the next day. 2 in the front, 1 in the back. That night, I barely slept. And the next morning when I checked the footage, there it was. Same person. Hood up. Back again. This time, they weren't near the fence. They were at Poncho's crate outside. Just standing there. Not doing anything. Not reaching in. Just watching him. That's when something shifted in me. Up until now, I'd been reacting. To the loss, to the lies, to the community turning on me. But this was a threat. And I wasn't going to sit back anymore. I made copies of the footage and dropped them off with the officer I'd spoken to before. I also emailed the HOA, told them what was happening, reminded them that this all started with Claire, someone they were defending, someone they let stay even after what she did. That week, the security patrol came through more often, flashing lights at night, slowing down at corners, the kind of presence that says, we're watching now. It didn't stop the whispers. But it did stop the visits. At least for a while. Then one night I got a call from Paul, the neighbor who used to keep to himself. Check your front lawn, he said, voice low. I stepped outside. Spray paint. Big red letters across the sidewalk. Dog lover. Liar. Bully next to it, a smear of raw meat. Right where Poncho usually walks. I didn't feel afraid anymore. I felt done. And I knew what I had to do next. That same night, I stayed up cleaning the sidewalk. Took me over an hour. The meat stank. The paint stained the cracks. I scrubbed until my fingers went raw. Poncho just sat nearby, quiet, watching me. I wasn't angry. I wasn't even surprised anymore. I was just tired. Of people choosing sides over facts. Of being called a liar for telling the truth. Of watching a neighborhood I used to feel safe in turn into something hostile, petty, mean. The next morning I went door to door. Not everyone. Just the ones who mattered. The families I'd known the longest. The ones who used to wave, smile, talk about the weather. I told them everything. I showed them the footage. The letter. The police reports. I didn't ask for sympathy. I just wanted them to know. One man, Joe, said quietly, "I didn't know it got that bad."
I'm sorry, Mom.
That was the first time in weeks I felt anything close to relief. But it was brief. Later that week, Claire moved out. No big moving truck. Just a couple of quiet guys loading boxes into a van. No one helped. No one waved goodbye. I watched from my front steps. Poncho was beside me, tail still, watching too. And I thought, this is the part people won't understand. That sometimes justice doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel like winning. It just feels quiet. Like something ended, but you don't know what to do with the silence afterward. ChatGPT said, she left behind an empty house and a neighborhood that still won't look me in the eye. And even now, when Poncho barks at nothing in the middle of the night, I get up and check every lock because the truth is, it wasn't just him they tried to silence. It was both of us. And no one ever came back to say they were wrong.